who's instructing. So we have Stacy Coy today. She is our principal broker serving her Keller Williams brokerage as a reviewing principal broker, bringing knowledge to the home buying and selling process. So most of you up in the north are probably really familiar with her because that's primarily where she focuses. Stacy lives in Aloha, Oregon. She spends her free time reading and enjoying all the glorious Pacific Northwest has to offer. I think I need to fix that. She's also passionate about giving back to the community and makes service a big part of her life. And she's now ready to serve you. And she used to be a teacher. I don't think it says that in there, but I always feel like that's makes her even better of an instructor here with you guys. Open houses are definitely something that you guys have dabbled in or starting to step your toe in. So make sure you soak in all of this wonderful information to better improve those open house successes that you're looking for.
Yay.
I'll let you take
All
it
right.
away.
Thanks so much, Mara. I'll take it from here. Yeah. Because I was a teacher, I'm going to be like all up in your spaces and asking you guys to like be participating. So I'll be asking for comments. So please make sure that you are participating, that you are engaging. And if I'm going too fast, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. There's no stupid question. And we want you to understand fully the process so that you can be the best person that you can be for your business, because that's ultimately what we care about, is getting you launched, getting you ready. And one of the best ways to do that as a new agent is open houses. And it was the way that I started in my business and found great, great success. One of the goals that I had when I was a newer agent is I wanted to host 52 open houses within a year. That was just a goal I set for myself at the beginning of the year. That's an open house a week. Some weeks I did 2 in a weekend or 3. Others I just did it, like once a week, depending on what my schedule was and how busy I got. And because of that, it really propelled my business forward in a big way. Because even if it didn't lead to business right at that moment, it led to business down the line. And I even now will have clients that I met at an open house reach out and say, "Hey, I'm ready." And I'm like, "Okay, I haven't seen you in like 2 years, but okay, let's go." So it's a great way of building your business. So I highly recommend, because it's phenomenal. Okay, so let's just jump right in. I'm going to share my screen right now so that you get to see the content that is available. I think I'm going to do this. Oh. If I do, can you guys make sure you let me know when I hit slideshow? Can you still see everything here? Just give me a verbal yes or no.
Yes, we can see the slides.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That's all I needed. Okay, so welcome to Capturing Leads with Open Houses. What we're going to cover today is how to capture leads with open houses. We're going to go over the benefits of open houses, some of the best practices, and we're going to look at how to prepare, prospect, and pursue. It's a specific model that really helps you with all parts of the open house process. So that's what we're going to be focused on today. And here is the agenda. So boop, 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 boop. And so your goal by the end of the day is we want you to be able to describe the benefits of holding an open house and be prepared to hold one, and then identify best practices while holding an open house, so that by the end of this, we want you to feel ready to just get on out there and host your own open houses, because it's pretty great. Okay. Can I have a volunteer to read our quote for us right here on the screen? All right, Penny, I'm calling on you because there were no, oh, you'll do it, Ryan? Okay, phew.
Sure.
Penny's off the hook for now.
Nothing else about your business will have as big of an impact on it as the number of leads you have. Gary Keller.
Yeah, thank you. Why do you think that we're beginning a session of open houses with this particular quote?
Because that's the goal.
Hmm? Yes? And not just the goal, it's the number one goal, right? It's the best thing that you can do for your business that will lead to business. And so your number one job is to gain leads. And this is one way to impact the number of leads that you have. And so we hold open houses, and the purpose of holding open houses is so that you can sell the house. That's obvious. And the secondary purpose, which is specific to you guys if you're not the ones who actually have the listing in place, but the secondary goal is for you to capture leads. All right. So leads are what is the goal in this process. And so we're going to talk about how you can do that. All right. They're fun. They're really fun. And one thing that really helped me as a new agent when I first started hosting open houses was getting my mindset in the place where it didn't have to be perfect, right? If I messed up with one client, guess what? There was going to be another person who's going to come through the door for another open house, and I could practice on them. And through that process of hosting and refining and communicating, it gave me a lot of practice. And so be gracious to yourself. You're never going to do it perfectly, but the goal is to try to have fun with it, be authentic, be genuine, be open and welcoming, and through that, it will lead you to being successful with the people that you're meeting, and it will help you capture their data better. So keep that in mind too. Okay, so it is a really great way of making sure that you have access to buyers that are ready, willing, and able to be. I'm closing out tabs because I just got a notification saying I have low bandwidth. So a little nervous about that, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. It's going to put you in the path of people who are ready to buy for the most part, or who are actively looking to buy. And so open house specifically is a great way of putting you in the path of buyers that are ready, or that you want to be ready to go, because you know that they're looking. So before you here's a little caveat, I have to say it, before you engage in in-person activities, consult your jurisdiction's rules regarding COVID procedures and precautions, contact your local real estate association for best practices, and just follow the rules. So that's the little caveat. Make sure that you're doing a good job with that. Okay. Moving into our next slide. Okay, sometimes when we think about an area, we may have a bias or a limiting belief that is holding us back. So we're going to take a little moment to check in with our mindset. You've already learned a little bit about limiting beliefs. And what we want to do is we want to get you to the point where you can feel that those limiting beliefs are just that. They're limiting beliefs, and they're not a reason to hold you back from experiencing something. So does anyone have any limiting beliefs about holding open houses? Anything that might be, oh, go ahead, Taylor.
A buyer may have a question that I don't know the answer to.
Ooh, that's a really good one, especially when you're a newer agent, right? Limiting belief. But guess who does have the answer? The brokerage that you work for has the answer. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with saying, that's a great question, and I will get back to you with an answer. Can I have your contact information so that I can follow up with you? Yeah, you don't have to know everything. But the good news is at Keller Williams, you know a bunch of people within our brokerage that do know everything. You are all underneath the supervision of a coach who's really knowledgeable about helping you with things, right? And you also have direct access to the listing agent when you're hosting these open houses for another listing agent. And that listing agent is a great resource because they probably know the answer to that question. So you can get that information out to the people who are asking that question. And it's authentic, right? You're not saying that you don't know and that you're incapable. You're saying, hey, you're showing that you're able to solve a problem, and that's really good. Love that you brought that one up, Taylor, because that is very difficult to overcome for newer agents until you switch it. And then you're like, I got this because I have people behind me, supporting me and helping me. So anyone else? Any other limiting beliefs about open houses?
They might try and take advantage of a new agent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So thinking that somebody's just going to be using your services.
Not so much
For
that, but
free?
just kind of cutting things cut things short and just not really being as, I guess, open or cooperative with you just because they know that you're not as experienced.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a great limiting belief, right? That the people that you're meeting may not have confidence in your abilities yet. Correct? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah, or more of like the seller side,
Oh, I gotcha.
the
Okay.
agent, or yeah, the agent.
Mhm. Mhm. And yeah, that can be a concern because you're just meeting these people. So you haven't had a chance to establish rapport with them yet. And so I'm going to teach you some strategies and stuff to help you feel more confident, and things that you can have on site that would really help you, because the the best way that you can show your expertise is by using market data, market stats, numbers, and every Keller Williams agent has access to a huge amount of data. And we'll talk about that in the preparation process when you're getting ready for hosting an open house, to make sure that you have that data on hand and are able to utilize how to use it so that you are more expertise and you're establishing rapport with those agents. So a concern, valid concern, and easy to overcome. So we'll make sure that we get
Perfect.
there. Anyone
I
else?
see
Yeah, I would
that one.
imagine that
Concerns?
comes mostly with time and experience.
Mhm. Yeah, and the practice, right? And if you get it wrong one time, then that's okay. There will be other clients that walk through that door and you can nail it next time. All right, Penny, what were you going to say?
I was just going to ask about the signs. You know, there's that one of the limiting beliefs is I don't have signs yet. Aren't they available at the office?
Yeah, they are available. I would recommend investing in, I only bought 4. I've only ever used 4. And it's a really affordable way of having access to them. When I first started, I made friends with fellow agents that were in Ignite with me, and we shared our signs, because I knew that I was going to be hosting on a certain day and she was going to be hosting on another certain day. And so we went in together until the point that I could afford to buy all of the signs that I wanted to have. So yeah, it's a really affordable thing to do. Some people have more. You can even, here's another fun tip. You can reach out to the Google distribution group in your market center and say, hey, does anybody have any open house A-frames that they're willing to part with for, and then you can get other agents hand-me-downs, which you can then put your own sticker on, and then they belong to you. So sometimes you can get them for free too, or not free, but get them for cheaper than you would if you're buying them brand new. So yeah. And I believe with the PC program, you'd have to check by market center, but I believe that they have a few open house signs available for checkout through the PC program. However, you're in competition with all the other PC agents who are like doing it too. So just keep that in mind. It's worth investing in if open house is a way for you to lead generate, because it's a very effective way of lead generation. Excellent question. All right, I'm going to pop on over to the other ones. I don't have a listing to hold open. That's a bummer, but what can you do to overcome that? What do you guys think?
Hold for other agents who do have listings?
Absolutely. Ask other agents in your market center for permission to hold your listings. Once you start establishing rapport with who those listing agents are, they'll reach out to you and be like, hey, in 4 weeks, I have a listing coming. Will you be my host? And you can like start booking them out. So start developing a relationship with people in your office. Ask them if they need help hosting any of your opens or any of their opens. And there you go. You've got yourself a way of doing that. I know some agents will also put out on the Google distribution group, they'll say, hey, does anybody have a listing that they need held open this weekend? Right. And that's another good way of doing it. Okay. No, I got to pick up the pace. What about if I may not know the answers to questions visitors have? I kind of talked a little bit about that. What's the great answer? Let's see if you remember or we're listening.
I know people who know the answer and I
Well,
can get the
actually say, that's a great question. Let me find out for you. Yep. And then what's your information or what's the way that I can relay that information to you? Because then you're capturing data from the client and then you have a way of following up with them. So it's a really, really good thing to do. Good job. Okay. And then what about I won't feel safe? That's kind of an important one for some people, most people. Anybody have any ways to overcome that one or thoughts on how you can?
I just let everybody know where you're at, where you're going to be for that time. And then I think there's a code word too that you call in if you think there's a problem. You could call in and say,
yes. Oh, good job, Penny. Yes. Those are two really good strategies. Number one, let people know where you are. I used to send a follow-up text every 30 minutes to the person that knew that I was hosting an open house alone. And then if they didn't receive a text, then they would call me and say, hey, is everything okay? Or they would text me to say if everything is okay. So it was like a regular check-in. And we do have something called an orange file protocol. You can always call your principal broker, call your market center. And if ever you're feeling unsafe with the situation, you just say, hey, can you give me the orange file for 123 Main Street? And then we know on the other end of the phone, oh no, that agent is in trouble. We are going to send help, which means we call 911 and disperse the police out to that home. So yes, orange protocol, super important. It's like code to just let them know about that. And you can also buddy up. Buddying up with people is a great way of doing it. I think you need to shadow somebody first when you're in the PC program to be able to know how to move forward. In addition to shadowing, you should also consider partnering with some of your power partners. Bring in a lender that you are establishing a relationship with and say, hey, do you want to come co-host this open house with me? That's a really good thing to do because it's a win-win for both parties, right? They get the business of meeting buyers who could potentially need financing, and you get the bonus of having somebody who's on site with you to help you out. So it's a win-win. So just make sure that that's a thought too. Okay. Without further ado, let's move on unless there's other things that you guys wanted to talk about on that one. Nope. Okay, let's see. Oops, I went too far. All right, so here we are, capturing leads with open houses. All right, open houses, who benefits? Two main goals are to sell houses and generate leads, but who does the open house benefit? The answer's kind of on the slides, everyone. But let's talk about why. Why do sellers benefit? Yeah. Why do sellers benefit from open houses?
Gives them exposure.
exposure.
People in the door.
Gets people in the door. Potential buyers.
Allows them to feel the space as opposed to just look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So high exposure, you're bringing people in the door, all those things. Good. What about buyers? How do buyers benefit from open houses?
They can visit a house without having to have another agent, have their agent with them. So they can browse without having
without obligation. Yep. And NAR statistics say that 51% of buyers research through open houses. So you know that when somebody's looking, they're going to open houses. Boom, 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 boom. 51% of buyers. That's a lot. Okay, what about neighbors? How do neighbors benefit from open houses?
They get to be nosy and see what the neighbors' homes are like. And then if they know somebody that they want to have come move in and be closer to them, that would be nice. Bring family closer.
Yep. They get to
Helps
see
them
how their
understand
home.
their value.
Yes, yes. I'm glad you said that. That's exactly what I was going to say, Ryan. So way to pop on in there with that secondary one. Both right. Excellent. All right. What about you as an agent? How do you benefit from open houses?
You get leads
What are ways?
and experience.
Yep. Leads, experience. Anyone else?
And you just get to know more people.
I'll throw in a couple more that you may not have thought about. You get to connect with your neighborhood prior to the event, right? If you're doing the process well, you're going to be reaching out to the neighbors ahead of time and letting them know the open house is coming. And that's putting you out there and demonstrating to those potential other sellers that you are an agent that does the hard work of bringing buyers into a home listing. So great thing to do. Your signs with your name are all throughout the neighborhood, and that's exposure. And you just get a lot of chance to practice providing value, practice being with people, practice going through the process and refining how you do it. Okay. Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. The benefits of an open houses. All right. One of the primary benefits of open houses is that they're relatively inexpensive to host. So while open houses don't cost much, they do require a significant time investment. All right. So cheap way of lead generating. You're not spending hundreds of dollars to go and market yourself out through mailings or etc. But if you do it well, all you're giving is your time, which will then turn out into clients, which will then turn into paydays. So you want to make sure that you are. That's why it's perfect for newer agents, because newer agents have a ton of time, not a ton of clients. And so when you're building that clientele, it really helps you. Okay, open houses are also a very useful prospecting tool for lead generation. That means you get to meet buyers, you get to meet sellers, and you also get to meet other agents and getting to know other people. Potential clients and agents meet at open houses, and those can be quickly qualified as leads that lead to business. Okay, and then the main thing that you invest when you're preparing an open house is time. The return on investment can be tremendous, meaning you're not spending a lot of money, but your return on investment is huge, because let's say you meet one client in the month for an open house and then you close that client, the return on investment is huge, right? You may have given just I used to come back from my open houses and I'd be like, okay, I met this many leads. And I'm like, and all it takes is one. And because I was having that mentality, I'm like, all it takes is just one to convert, which is going to give me the business that I need. And of course, it was more, but just focusing on all I need is just the one. Even though I met 12 people today and maybe all 12 will want to work with me, but all I need is one. All I need is one person to work with me, and then I can focus on that and then build more and more. And then there were some months where it was like, kind of 5 people that were willing to work with me. Or, some months it was like, I only got one, and it's okay. But the return on investment is great because it leads to potential closed deals. Okay. And then qualified leads are important because it gives the participants opportunities to get face-to-face instead of on the phone, instead of on camera. Like, you are able to establish rapport much more quickly because you're in person than if you were just a digital version of somebody who's sending out a call or an email. So that's what's great about it too. Okay. What types of leads are you most likely to get from an open house? Anybody know? What do you think? You're going to meet more buyers or sellers at an open house?
People looking to buy.
Yeah, definitely. That's usually who you meet at that time, or at open houses, are those who are ready to buy. Okay, any ahas? Remember, when we go back and we think about what we just heard, it helps solidify it in our brain. So saying it back really helps make it sink in. So what is it that you guys can take away so far from what we talked about up to this point?
I have a question about the qualifying the leads. What
Mhm.
exactly is that when you say qualify them?
You're asking, are they ready, able, and willing? Like, can they buy a house now? Like, do they have financing? Do they have the proper, like all the, do they have a high enough credit score? Like, are they qualified, right? Are they motivated, or are they stuck in a lease for another 5 months? You know, you just have to ask those types of questions. And usually it leads to you finding out how you can help meet their need and get them to the point where they're able, ready, willing. Yeah, good question. All right, any other ahas? Because that wasn't really technically an aha. Takeaway, what'd you learn? What do you know? Nobody learned anything in that last section, really?
I would just say using the signs as advertising and being able to post on social media and everything. I mean, that's pretty exciting to be able to do that for
Mhm.
in an inexpensive way.
Absolutely. Yeah, picture of you by an open house sign, say, hey, everybody come and stop on by and see me at 123 Main Street. Fabulous way of open housing. And even if it's not like that you want them to stop by, sometimes I would do it afterwards, right? Because of safety, depending on where I was posting. But I would still let agents know, or my sphere know, that I was real estating. I was doing the things. And then they're like, oh, she's a real estate agent. It's all good. So yeah, great. Cool. Anyone else willing to say
May I ask
anything?
you a question?
Of course.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, do you have stats on conversion rate of this open house activity?
No, I
Because
think it's gonna
I know
be
there are a lot of agents complaining about open houses because conversion rate is so low, and then some complain, oh, I only got like 1 or 2 deals done a year, and then they
through
wasted
your
tons
open
of
houses.
time. Yeah,
Okay.
so they wasted
Um,
tons of time. So according to this page, there are a lot of advantages or like
mhm.
good things about this open house activity. However, on the other side of the story, there are people complaining about the open houses. So if you have a stats on that, that'd be very useful.
I don't have actual stats, and I think they would vary per agent, right? Because those should be numbers that you keep track of.
Sure.
Like how many open house nets you had, how many converted into active buyers and or sellers, and how many converted into a closed transaction. It takes time. Give yourself a little bit of if people are saying that they're having a hard time getting leads from open houses, it was 6 months before I was hosting open houses. It was 6 months before I closed my first transaction when I started. So it took me a bit to get to the place where I was like, oh, now I'm doing the things. And my first closing was a met from an open house. And then my second closing was a met from an open house. And so for me specifically, in that first year where I really focused on that as my lead generation strategy, I would say my close rate was about 70% came from open house leads. So,
So
but that was
what was so different before and after that period? Because you said, like, after 6 months, I was the person who could generate leads from open houses, but before that, you were a different person. So what changes? In what area did you change yourself so much?
I didn't. I
You
just
didn't?
kept doing it. I
Oh, kept
just
doing it.
kept
Okay.
doing the business,
All
and
right.
it eventually led to me getting really good at it, and then
Oh,
it
okay.
led to me converting, right? You just keep doing the action until you start seeing the results, and that's the consistency, the time on task over time makes you better, makes you better,
All
makes you
right.
better, and you
Consistency.
continue to focus on it. So, yeah.
All right.
Good
Thank you.
question, and I wish I had the data to tell you about that. All I can tell you is my own data, and then and that was from 3 years ago. That when I was really heavily hitting open houses, I haven't hit them very much. It's still one of my sources of lead generation, but I did not host 52 open houses last year. I
Right.
hosted 4 and that
Thank you.
was very different because my leads were coming from different places. So
Right.
just so that you know that. Okay.
I have if you have a
Alright.
sec.
I'm teaching, so do you have any questions? No? Okay, cool. Good to see you. Okay. All right, sorry, Rudy. I'm at a home inspection right now. My inspector just arrived, so I had to say hi. The beauty of real estate, you get to practice from all over the place. Okay, let's go on to the next slide and try to move forward from that. All right, our next thing that we're going to be briefly covering, or we've covered why open houses are beneficial. Now let's go over some best practices, because that is what it's all about, right? What to do and how to do it at a high level. So the 6 personal perspectives, specifically E to P, with everything we do, it's essential to be purposeful in our mindset and in our actions. So before you open house, set concrete and achievable goals. For example, tell yourself your goal is not to like, I'm going to close deals right now. That's too vague. Let's make it more specific. Let's say your goal is to add 6 people to your database, right? And that is your goal for that particular open house. So you would be specifically focused on something that is going to help lead to business. All right. So concrete, specific goals, really important. And achievable, right? You're not going to say like, hey, I'm going to add 200 people in this open house. That's not achievable. That's way too much, right? So make sure that they are concrete and achievable. And then sometimes setting goals will require a lot of work. Setting attainable and difficult goals will help you maximize your return on your investment, right? If you know you haven't hit that 6 number at that particular open house, then maybe you need to host another open house that weekend. Or maybe you need to do something on Facebook Live, or you need to, like, whatever it needs to be. Maybe you're door knocking, right? To say, hey, here's an open house. Like, it helps you focus and be much more intentional to hit that particular goal. All right. Because remember, goals are not just to get appointments. They're a way to help you focus on the leads. Okay, let's go on to the next slide, unless there's any questions. So set good goals. Number 2, pick the house. It's crucial in this step. It's important to look for great and visible locations, preferably not more than 3 turns from a major road. Once you've chosen a house, then you need to get familiar with the neighborhood. That means you need to be doing that as part of your strategy to connect with the market. So as you are preparing for the open house, you need to know the numbers of that area. You need to know the numbers of that house. You need to know the numbers of all of that. And so here's what I do. And I'm going to deviate a little bit from the script here, but I think it's really helpful. So when I am preparing for hosting an open house, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the RMLS full. I'm going to print it out. I'm going to have it ready. I keep it on me at all times so I can reference those questions that people ask. How much is square footage? How old is the house? What is it? Like all the things, I have it ready and available so that I can reference it. That's for me. I print the agent full. I'm also printing copies of the MLS client full, so that way I can pass that out to people who are visiting the house so that they can have an accurate representation of what it is. The other thing that I am pulling is market stats and data for that neighborhood. You all have access to Area Pro. Area Pro is a phenomenal tool that you get to use for your open houses. Every single time that you are utilizing that tool, you can refine and find actual market data and stats that help you to know what to do. Things to pull from Area Pro are like your list to ratio prices. You want to make sure that you're looking at how long days on market are for that particular neighborhood. You're looking at the time that, like, you're even doing research as to what other homes are available in that neighborhood, and you're making sure that you have that data. Some people, and I did it also, is I pulled other homes that were comparables. And so I could then have a conversation with the clients that are coming in and say, hey, here I am at this particular open house. Have you seen 123 Main Street or 124 Main Street? because it's a good comp. And if they're like, no, I haven't, I'd be like, oh, I'd be happy to show you. Let's go ahead and get a buyer representation agreement signed. Give me your information. Let's get that set, and boom, boom, boom. And then you have a client who you are ready to show other houses to, right? So pulling other homes that you have available. I also always print up and have ready and available the market action report that comes from RMLS Monthly. So that way you have the actual numbers of what's happening in the Portland metro areas, or not Portland metro area. You can have it from any of your areas. I'm sure your MLSs all have something that's specific. I know I'm speaking to Portland metro specific with RMLS, but there are other MLSs that do the same thing as well. So just be mindful of that and know your neighborhood. Do your research. Okay. Yes. So that is back on how to pick the right open house, and then to know it well. Yeah.
Question. What is the biggest difference between Area Pro and the market action report from RMLS?
So the market action report is specific to the metro area or whatever your area that you're looking at. It's like the big umbrella. Your Area Pro, you can refine it all the way down to a neighborhood. So it gives you stats and data specific to that neighborhood. Really good resource. You get a link every week in your email. Just open it up, attend one of their trainings so that you know how to use their product. Really good way.
Right. There was a workshop today, this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. And they have one every week. So.
Right. Unfortunately, I didn't find it useful because I didn't know about it. So, all right. Okay.
Yeah. So Area Pro is great. And it makes you appear as a expert when you are like, hey, here's the stats and data. Let's talk about it. And those high C people that come in, those that really care about data, are going to be so impressed.
So
I'm not a high C person, but I can talk data with clients.
All right. So each individual agent pay for it separately?
No, it's part of being in Keller Williams.
Okay.
Yeah. You have access to that tool. It's pretty awesome. We used to have these things called total market overviews, and those were great. And I would always have those printed up for that particular neighborhood as well. The last thing that I also have printed up when I go into an open house, now that I think about it, is I have options of lending strategies that are creative. So like Knock Home Pro, which is like a buy first then sell program. There are others that are out there. I'm trying to think names really quick. Let's see. I use Knox, so I'm trying to think of what other ones would be out there. Not remembering. That's okay, but I don't have the answer to that. But guess what? Your coach might. So feel free to reach out and utilize that as a resource. Okay, so back to the script, capturing leads. Pick the house. Make sure you're picking an area that is really good. Best ways to choose a house is price point. That starting price point, guys, whatever that price point is in your neighborhood, like in the Portland metro area, the 400s, the 300s, if you pick open houses at 400s and 300s, you're going to be pretty busy, because a lot of people come and they're usually unrepresented buyers who are first-time home buyers. And so you can really help them out that way. So picking houses like that. And then another thing that you can do is know the neighborhood. Ahead of time, you're figuring out where you're going to strategically place your 4 directionals. It doesn't have to be 4. It can be more than that, but 4 has been adequate for me. And then you're going to be saying, oh, hey, there's a market right over there, or there's a Target, or there's a grocery store, or there's a coffee shop. And so know those things. So that way you can talk to people as they come in. All right. Until 13. Perfect. Move on to the next little bit. Here we go. Prepare and practice. Okay, before you host an open house, prepare a list of questions that you might be asked to practice your conversation starters. But these might be things that will test your knowledge or of the house or your market. I heard a really great, What to Say for Real Estate Agents. It's a book. I haven't read it, but it has like actual scripts on what to say to help do it. But I did hear a speaking from one of the author of the book, and he said, try to send the people who come into the open house on a treasure hunt for finding certain things, like, hey, make sure that when you're upstairs, you're looking for the thing, and then they go with a goal in mind when they're upstairs to focus on something specific about the house. That's pretty cool. So anyway, it's called What to Say. I wish I remember the name. It's in my desk, so if anybody's up in Portland Metro or you want to email me, just let me know and I'll share it with you. But yes, conversation starters are awesome. Potential clients might ask why the house is for sale, when the home was last renovated, if the home has any structural issues, how long the house has been on the market. Those are all questions that you personally can ask the listing agent that you're hosting for, to say, hey, what are some things that I need to know about this house? So that you can then be the presenter of the information. Okay. Because there's always going to be questions. So try to be as prepared as possible in doing your research, and then be okay if you need to seek that answer out in another way by reaching out to the listing agent and or finding it yourself and then following it up later. Okay. During an open house, best practice is to get the client's information. That means have visitors sign in, however that looks, whether it's a paper sign in with a clipboard, whether it's you get them to sign directly onto your iPad that you have available. You use a strategy, but the goal is to capture their data, name, phone number, email. That way you have a way of following up with them afterwards. And you can even say that it's a requirement because it's a safety measure, right? You want to make sure that you have that data. I've even had some people say that they take a look at somebody's ID just to make sure that it matches, because it's a requirement by the seller, right? Because the seller doesn't want anybody in there that's not going to be in there, or who's not going to be legitimate. You'll find that at some of those higher price point homes. Okay, let's see. You can even ask them to leave something of value with you while they tour the home, like their car keys or their driver's license. It's just a safety measure. And then explain to the participants that setting up a sign-in station allows them to capture leads that you can follow up on later. Once you've captured their information, then you have plenty of opportunities to wow them with all of the value that you can bring with your technology, with your expertise, with all the things that you can provide for them. So that is that section. Moving on to the next little bubble. Boom. Pick the time. Okay, the time you choose is really important for an open house. Knowing your market and having connected with it. There was one time I had a listing downtown in the Pearl District, and there was an event that happened where hundreds of people walked by that building during that event. And I was like, what a great time to have an open house. So guess what went in? The signs went in so that it could divert people who might have been interested to that particular open house. So some people have listings that are at or near a school. Having an open house right after that school it comes out is another good way of making sure that you capture all those people who are coming home from school who might want to live closer to the school. So different markets, different locations all have different requirements, but you want to try to maximize and do the best to get traffic through the house. So picking the time. Sometimes you can pick a theme if you're having that game's on the TV so that people who come in know that it's there, right? And can check the score as they go through the open house. Let's see. Sometimes some activities might conflict with people. Sunday mornings may not be the best for some people because of church, but other places it might be awesome because there's not a lot of people who go in that neighborhood or in that area. So just be mindful of it. Some of the more popular times that I know of for open houses are Saturday, Sundays, and you can do 2 chunks in the day. You can do
I can't hear you anymore. You're frozen.
A 9 to 11:30 or a 9
Uh-oh.
You're frozen
So
on my
You're
screen.
lagging.
Can't
Yeah.
hear you.
Is that okay? Oh, no. Okay. Phew. I didn't do anything. It just magically started working again.
You started slowing down and then we lost.
And then I went down. Darn it. Oh, well. Again, the pitfalls of hosting a class from a home inspection. Sorry, everybody. All right, but you heard about picking the time, Saturday, Sunday, 2 chunks, in the morning and an afternoon chunk, and then Friday nights. Those are really good ones too. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Prepare the stats. Oh, I already talked a little bit about that one. Got ahead of myself on that. Okay. Helpful things to know about the neighborhood before hosting: local information, school districts, because you're going to get asked that question. Employment information, like if there's anything in the neighborhood that that might be there. Recreation nearby, traffic and commute times. Lots of ways to know the market data. And if you have a relationship,
You have a problem.
Losing you.
I think you have to check your connection.
with the title company, which I hope you do. Let's try again. All right. If it's not, then I'm just going to turn recording off and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for letting me know, guys. I want to be there with you. Okay, so preparing stats we talked about. Let's talk about being safe. Buddy system. Arrive early. Having another person with you is helpful. Being early really gives you an advantage of parking in a way that you can easily access. They say park on the street instead of in the driveway. It prevents your car from being blocked in case you need to leave for an emergency exit. Check all entrances and exits before the open house and have a fully charged cell phone. Sometimes if you're feeling unsafe, getting on the phone with somebody right away, say, oh my gosh, I have a call coming in. That way the person knows that you are talking with a person, less likely to do anything bad to you at that time. So make sure that you have that. Also, when you show a potential client through the house, allow them to walk ahead of you. Never go up the stairs first. Always let them go up first. Never open and enter a doorway first. Always let the client do that first. And also make sure that you are just being safe. For me, I have a little lanyard and it's my open house lanyard and I have my business cards in it so I can easily pull out a business card if I need to. But on that lanyard is also a little knife that I use, which has scissors and everything. And I can use it to cut off, like sometimes you have to have scissors available for when you're putting signs up or not. And so it's just there's just a little surety that I have around my neck. It like whatever works for you that makes you feel better. I have a super high intensity flashlight that can strobe at somebody. I keep that in my pocket at all times. And on my lanyard, I will also clip the house key for that particular house onto my lanyard. So I have that available. I learned the hard way one time when I closed a door and it auto locked on me and I was locked out of the open house while I was showing it. I was showing the backyard to a client and we got locked out. It was not good. So Anyway, safety is important. We want you all to be safe when you're doing open houses. Okay. Ooh, I know I told you guys a lot of things, so you must have things to tell me about that you learned. Any ahas? Remember, when you say it back, you're much more likely to remember it yourself.
I would not have thought to not park in the driveway due to being blocked in, so I appreciate that tip.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Taylor.
Yeah, those tips
Anyone
were
else?
really, really helpful. A lot of people, I think, wouldn't really think about that.
Yeah.
The research. Do your research.
Do your research. Yep. Know the house well.
You were saying something about your leads when you have an open house, like all you need is that one, right?
Yeah.
I kind of have to stop my brain from thinking like that one obviously is going to know people, and that one may not just stop at one for even just that person. They might have you for other listings. They might just have other life opportunities for you down the road. Just it doesn't even have to do with real estate or anything like that, but just it's that ripple effect,
Yep, for sure.
I really like that about this industry, because kind of like when you're chopping wood, it's like every chop is that effort stops, and there's nothing that it can do until you swing it again. But in this industry, you talk to people and the ripple just keeps going on forever, and I love it.
And that ripple, like I said, could come 2 years later. And then you're like, whoa, all that work that I did in that first year is now showing up in my year 3, year 4, right? And it just builds. And that's the advantage of time.
Yeah, I don't see any interaction being non-incredibly beneficial.
Cool. Great mindset. Great mindset. Okay. Anyone else? Or can we move forward past that? Thanks for sharing, guys. Those of you that took the time to say something, I appreciate it. And it's going to help you. Okay. Prepare, prospect, pursue. That's our next thing. So I have another quote. Penny, will you read this one this time?
The difference between big and really big is how you manage your time and focus. Another quote from Gary Keller's Millionaire Real Estate book.
Yay. Great book, by the way. Hope you guys all read it because it's part of your bingo board. Yeah, bingo boards. And I think there's a spot that talks about reading The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I haven't actually delved deep into that, but I've read the book like 3 times because it's that good. Okay. Prepare, prospect, and pursue is a model to approach your open house. So let's talk about preparation. Most of the work for your open house is to get appointments with active buyers and sellers. So to be at your best and achieve what you've set out for yourself takes preparation. That means you have to schedule preparation time before the open house. Like you're scheduling it in the week. So for example, on Tuesday, you've already nailed down which open house you're hosting, right? And that's when you start doing your research. So that way you are preparing throughout the week to do all the things so that when the time comes for your open house, when you're hosting your open house, you've already put in time that is going to lead to it being a successful thing. All right. Because we want you to be able to set appointments that lead to business. All right. So you're going to be spending more time preparing than you are actually hosting. And that's important. So set high and achievable goals, remove limiting beliefs, focus on your success, and believe in yourself, because those are all things that are going to help lead you to success in this. Ask how many leads you intend to capture. How many appointments do you want to get from that particular open house? And then know that you will have an opportunity to think that through before the open house, like way before the open house. All right, let's move on to the next one. Here is a great model. After you've done the hard work, like picking your house, knowing the next few steps is going to maximize potential client traffic at your open house. And so this is going to involve posting ahead of time. 93% of buyers use a website to find a house. So go where the people are, post online about your open houses. Walk, make sure that you're not reaching out to anybody who's on the TCPA, do not call list, talking to them about the open house that's coming up. You can get lots of good information from neighbors, door knocking, and ask them, what do you love about this neighborhood? I'm hosting an open house that Saturday at 9 to 11. Would love to have you stop by and say, hey, and I want to get your perspective of what it's like living here so I can share that with prospective buyers that are coming in, right? So you're door knocking, you're doing all the things ahead of time. All right, so Monday, select the house. Tuesday, post online, walk the neighborhood, invite neighbors. Wednesday, post online again, install your yard signs. You'll have to double check that because sometimes installing a yard sign, your A-frames, I wouldn't put them out because they could be taken or stolen that early. That's if it's your listing. Let's see, post online again, invite your database. Friday, post online again, prepare your market stats, print flyers, go door knocking, make sure that you're doing all those things. Okay, next.
I have a quick question about door knocking.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
What would be like the best times you think to do
door
or
knocking?
not do that? Yeah, and does that kind of differ for
I think
each,
it would differ for the neighborhood. Sometimes, I mean, whatever works for your schedule too, but usually, and time of year, right? Winter time, it's cold and dark. So door knocking at that time may not be the safest in the evenings, but in summertime, it might be great because everybody's out barbecuing or whatever in the evenings.
right? Yeah,
So
because
it
I'm
would
thinking like,
vary.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like people are home at night, but it's also like you said, it's not that safe. You can't really see anything, you know. So
Yeah. You can also drop off a flyer with your information at that time too. And if they're not there, you just tuck it in because then that's getting your information to all of the neighbors. Yeah. And when I say a flyer, something that's specific that will invite them, right? Invite them to the open house. That's marketed to you. But if it's not your listing, make sure that you are giving credit to the listing agent, and a little compliance tip in there because you can't market it as if it's your own open house or as if it's your own listing. You can only market it as if it's you're hosting on behalf of the listing agent. Tom's
right, gotcha.
Whatever. Okay, got it. Okay, next. What clients like to know. So after you've done the hard work of preparing, your goal is to get appointments. 21, 22. And it's important to know some things that they want to know when they come to the open house. So knowing your numbers will help address things that may not be on that particular list. People come to the open house intending to know the community and the neighborhood information. So remember, they're buying a lifestyle. So be a community real estate expert by knowing your market. Learn the name of the park down the street, study the neighborhood history, explore all the apps that are available for you, and know why people might be moving to that area. And those are all bits of information you can get from the listing agent, from door knocking, from neighbors, from doing your research, from your title company. All helpful people who can help with that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Doop. Prospect. Okay. When we are prospecting, then you've heard of leads, listings, leverage. Open houses are all about leads. Mostly time is an investment. So let's look at ways that you can prospect effectively. So an important part is to build trust and rapport when people are coming into the house. So what you're going to do is you're going to greet everyone that comes into the door, even the kids and the dogs, because those little fur babies matter. I mean, dogs usually don't come in the house. I've had people try to bring dogs in houses before, and you just said no, because there could be allergies anyway. Not good business practice. But
Pets
if
are
they have
also
a dog
people's
waiting
kids.
in the car, then you'd be like, oh my gosh, what's the dog's name? And then you can talk about that. But yes, greet everybody. Ask visitors what brought you in today. I know they're fur babies for people. I know. I have 3 of my own. Okay, you can ask, what are you looking for in a home in this neighborhood or this price range? Have you been looking at other open houses? I always ask the question, so what has your process been like so far? Like when it was super busy during COVID, it was like, and how many offers have you written? That gives you information about if they're working with another agent or if they're just trying to get into the home buying process. Would you like to know more about the market or the neighborhood? What would you like about this house that I can share with others? I always ask that question so that I can provide feedback for them. Be positive, be upbeat. Clients are thinking about their futures, so be a positive force of that for them and meet them where they are and what they're doing. If they don't seem interested in engaging with you, then read their energy and then don't engage with them as much. Like back off, give them some time. Provide your value. Here's another thing when you are talking about prospecting. It's important to demonstrate your value. You can do this by knowing your numbers. That's one of the most important things you can do. And when you get to the day of the open house, make sure that you know your stats. Make sure that you know how many days the house has been on the market, the price, the number of houses sold in the neighborhood, and what price. Understand personality types, like how you can meet and mirror and match people, whether they are going to be high C people who are highly interested in data, then, oh my gosh, you're going to be talking data. If there's somebody who's like, oh, this house is amazing, you're like, oh my gosh, isn't it wonderful? And so you just mirror and match them. So know personality types and how best to engage with people in that way. Mirror their behavior, their energy level, their interest. That will definitely do a lot, and ask them questions. People love to talk about what they like. People love to, okay. Let's see. 6, 7. Okay. Have a sign-in sheet. That's another helping to do. You can use command. You can use your KW app. You can ask probing questions like the Ford model. Have you heard about the Ford, F-O-R-D? Things to ask. Family. I forget right now. I'm sorry. All right, follow up and convert leads after the open house. This is an important part. This is the pursue part of it. When you are following up and converting leads after an open house, the leads that you capture, the data, the phone number, the name, the email, you want to follow up with them. On average, they say 7 to 11 times for conversion, for a successful conversion. So shoot for 7. If you need to go to 11, unless they tell you, hey, back off, and then you back off and then you're like, okay, this is not the person for me to work with, but 7 to 11 contacts or follow-ups. Command has some smart plans available for open houses. You can search under smart plans in Command for open house follow-up, and those open house mets that you meet at the open house, you can always follow up. I immediately, one of the things that I do at the end of every open house, I guess I didn't talk about how I prepared. I get to the open house at least 30 minutes before. I go through, I open up all the windows. I open up all the blinds on the windows. I make sure the temperature's right. I make sure the smell is right. So I have a little essential oils that I'll put a little drop in each sink so it smells fresh in the sink. I always use things like lemon or lime or orange or citrus or cinnamon during the fall when people love doing that. I go through and make sure all the lights are turned on because light is important to most buyers. And so you want to make sure that you open up the house that way. Then I sit down and I prepare out on my phone. I'll open up an email to the agent that I'm hosting the open house for, and I'll say what I parties through, what they loved, the feedback, and if there was any people that they need to follow up with. And I just have that template every time. And then as parties come through, I'd be like, okay, that's party number 5. That's party number 6. Here's what they told me. I type it right then and there. At the conclusion of my open house, when I turn the lights off and I close the door, I hit send. That way the agent gets an immediate feedback on how many people came into the house, what they thought about it, what they liked. Listing agents love that. So make sure that you do that right away. Then once I'm done and I wrapped up, I'm sitting in my car, I send an immediate follow-up text to all of the people that came to my open house. Thanks so much for coming to the open house. It was really nice to meet you. Sometimes I send a text, sometimes I send a quick little video like, hey, it's Stacy Coy. I just wanted you to have my contact information and let you know I'm available should you have any questions for this particular house, or if I can help you in the future. Hit send, boom, boom, boom. That way they all have your immediate contact information. So follow-up is key to conversion for open houses. Big time key. So can't stress that one enough. All right, you want to make sure that all the people that you meet get into your database, and then you put them on a drip campaign where you are where you're dripping on them and pursuing them until you can convert them into clients. So make sure that you are pursuing them, reconnecting. That first immediate follow-up, then on Monday morning, I'm sending them another text or the next, and then it's one of the 3. And then the next, and there's one of the 3. And then eventually I get to the point where I've contacted them 7 to 11 times. Hopefully I've converted them at that point, and then they are my clients. They want to see that you work hard for them, and not everybody's going to remember just after one time. Don't be that agent that gives up after 1 or 2 times. 7 to 11 is the magic number, guys. Okay. All right. Reach out right afterwards. All right. That's 28, 29. Next page. Plan an open house. All right. So important things to know. After you've hosted your open house, it's time to go back to your original goals and say, how many appointments did you get out? How many did you end up with? Did you hit your goal? Would you consider the open house a success? What changes or improvements would you make next time? Always good to reflect, because that will get you to the place where you are being an exceptional agent. Okay, any ahas? Anybody want to talk about anything they learned here? Because I know that you guys all love to do that. This is like the 4th aha screen we've had.
I have a question.
Okay.
Regarding directionals and signs. This may be more specific to location, but are there any general rules on where we can or cannot place those, like on sidewalks or?
Yes, that's part of the question that you can ask the listing agent. Sometimes there are HOA restrictions about where open house signs can be placed. And so you want to ask the listing agent to say, hey, are there any restrictions on where signs can go? Because here's where I was thinking about placing mine. Do you have any concerns with that? Sometimes I know the city of Beaverton has this weird rule where you cannot put balloons on a sign, because apparently it's distracting to drivers. So they don't allow balloons on signs. So just know your area and know things like that. Excellent question, Taylor. Anyone else?
So my aha is to think of open house as like a fun activity to do to meet people and just kind of practice.
It is. It is. It is a fun way of getting business. It really is. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
So, when we get all of their information, we collect all their information. We're just going to assume that they know we're going to call them later, or how do you? Because what if they're on a do not call list?
Well, usually what I do is when I'm signing in, or I'm saying, like I'm having people sign in, I say, just so that you know, you're not going to be spammed with a bunch of information, but I am going to follow up and provide some value to you, and that's it. That's all you can say. And then there you go. And then unless they say absolutely not, and then you know that they've not given you explicit approval. You can even have it on the bottom of the sign-in sheet, right? That you are going to be following up with important data and have that on the bottom of the sign-in sheet so that it's there as well. So good questions. Yeah, because once you've met somebody face to face, which is great with open houses, then you have that ability to already have created a contact so that they're not just a stranger anymore. Mhm. Yeah. Any other questions or ahas about that? Because the rest of our thing is all about you guys actually doing the stuff. And I don't know how much the other sessions have you do some things. Let's go ahead and look at the bullet points. All right, so here's a recap of everything. Do you have any questions about anything that we've talked about? Open house best practices, the benefits of an open house, or how to prepare, prospect, and pursue?
It says on 7.9, page 7.9, generate a call list of 100 neighbors for the open house.
Yeah, so you can go ahead and reach out to your title company to get some of that data.
Title
They will be able to
company. Okay,
help
very
provide
good.
that.
Thank you.
Title partners are great. Yep. Yes, yes, yes. Like,
The
oh,
training,
go ahead.
sorry. Okay. The training room put in the chat area pro report is a good tip. Can you go and talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so Area Pro is, I wonder if I have it bookmarked. Give me 1 second and see. We just made the switch in the fall. So Area Pro, where are you? I don't have it set up yet for myself. I just haven't gotten around to doing that. Homekeeper yard one. Oh wait, maybe this is it. Oh no, that's not it. Shoot. But that let me know of something that I need to do now is make sure that I have my thing up and going. There it is. Boom. I did have it bookmarked. Okay, I'm going to share this tab. Phew. All right, so Area Pro, can you all see the Area Pro page? Yeah. Okay, so Area Pro is a way for you to access it, and I'm not sure if I have the like the administration thing that comes up, or if this is what it looks like on an agent front. I apologize that I don't have it, but depending on your area, you would be able to select, let's say Eugene, Springfield, all areas. Maybe I shouldn't have selected that because that's not my area of expertise, but basically when you are pulling up that particular area, it allows you to see in all this county in the last 6 months what the month's supply of inventory is, how many actives, days on markets, pendings there are, how many have been sold in the last month, very active prices, and percent of listed sold ratios. So all of this data can be refined, can be tweaked. You can modify it. I'm not going to go into specifics because it's not my it's not my area of expertise, but it is a data hub. It has so much data available for you that you can refine and like bring down into a really awesome way. You can manage areas, meaning that you can set up an area that's specific to you. I think we have Portland Metro. Here's one. And it just pulls the market data for that attending the class that goes through how to utilize the system best. I think they have it offered for us every week, every 2 weeks, something like that. So it's a great way of creating something that you can print and then just imagine what that looks like. Like, how professional are you that you have that data at your fingertip? So it's a really nice way and talking point that you can have with clients, because everybody's going to ask, what's the market? How's the market? Tell me what's going on with the market, and you will be able to know. Good question. Somebody else was going to ask something. Can we use RPR report as well? You certainly can. RPR is an awesome way of utilizing market stats and data for a specific area. I love RPR. I do all my CMAs through them. All right. All right, I'm going to close out on that particular tab for Area Pro. You all see it. If you don't, like, in your emails, you all get one every week. So just click it open and then follow the steps. Get to know it well. I'll close out of that one. And now here we are back in our normal home screen. That's all I have for you guys today. I got done fast. Either I talked really quickly or you didn't ask a lot of questions. So this was faster than usual, but oh well, I guess you got 20 minutes or 40 minutes back in your day that you can now like do something intentional to get better at. So let's talk about what that could look like for you guys. How many of you intend to host an open house? Who's planning on doing it? Yeah. Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't done anything this week, so obviously it won't be this weekend, but yeah. So preparing, but there's a whole bunch of information here that I got to, that I had not thought of before. So
cool.
Thank you very much.
That's what we hope. We hope that you walk away from this. Oh, I have an open house bag. It's like a bag. It has paper towels, toilet paper, wet wipes, a little broom and handle thingy. And I take that with me at every open house. It's my open house bag and it also has like display boards that I can easily slip some things in for displaying. So like those little plastic display things that you can pop up. I always have a bunch of business cards just because that's a great thing to have as well. And then that's where I keep a lot of my printables that stay with me all the time. Keller Home Loans is a program that is available for Keller Williams agents, and great lending process and promotion. They don't charge loan origination fees, which is 1% price of the home. So it can save your clients thousands of dollars, and they're really good. So I always have a Keller Home Loans printout on my counter. And so I just print like 30, 40 of them, and then I can talk to clients about what that is. And it's branded to me, so it has my name and information on it too. So forgot to mention that. But yes, my open house bag lives in my garage. And then when I'm ready to host an open house, I just take it, put it in my car, and then it comes with me everywhere. It's really nice. All right. Any other questions?
I have one more question.
Okay.
You said to not spend too much time or money on open houses, right?
Specifically, it's an area of lead generation where you don't have to spend a lot of time and money on. Your initial investment is going to be those boards, your A-frames, and that's pretty much it. And then I bought little clipboards that I put my little thing on every time. And so I could just have this little clipboard that and pencils or pens. And then that was my sign in. And so I invested in those things initially. I think I ended up spending $150 and that was it. And so it's a very inexpensive way.
Wow.
And then I've never spent again, which is cool. Every so often I'll buy high chews, which is like pre-wrapped candy, and I'll put a little bowl of that out. But I don't always do that. Yeah.
It's the little things though, right?
It is. It's the little things.
Yeah. Like the scents in the sink.
Yep. I'm always trying to present the seller's house in the best light possible.
Yeah, and I think that was in particular a really good one because a lot of people don't really use the nose.
Mm-hmm.
They go for more what people are looking at.
Yep.
So
And it's
that was good.
important. Yeah, it's all the senses, right? Anything that you can do to present it in a positive way. And again, walking through the house ahead of time, it just gives you an idea for the flow. It helps you understand it, so you feel comfortable. So don't show up to an open house on time. Always show up early. Always. Like if your open house is from 1 to 3, you're showing up at like 12:15. It's just so that you have enough time to plan, prepare, to get ready so that everything is good to go. Yeah, you don't show up right at that time. And
Gotcha.
that you just wouldn't be able to know the house well enough at that point and get it set up for being show ready. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
So I think I'm asking too much of data points. I have a engineering
You're a high
background.
C.
Yeah, I
Say
like
no more.
data and patterns and things like that. So
Awesome.
when you do open house, have you worked with the staging company? Because I like to see how things are going with those companies. For example, if you have a seller who relocated already and then their house is just completely empty, right? And then I believe you have to spend like thousands of, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but with that staging, do you see a higher conversion rate or things like that? So
yeah, so the statistics and data on staging, great question, are that usually you're going to get the house sold quicker when it is staged. Houses tend to go quicker when they can envision it. It's like presenting the best looking house on the market, right? And here's a personal example that I had from a buyer that I toured last week. And the layout was almost identical in each of these units that we toured. One was staged, one was not. My client selected the staged house.
Oh, okay.
And that's the one that I'm in right now for the home inspection. Like literally just happened.
So what
now,
about
some agents will use the staging as part of, so this is usually done with a listing, right? If it's your own listing that you're trying to sell, having that conversation with the seller about like, this is part of the value that I offer as a listing agent is I will provide the staging for you. Or it's like, we have access to a staging company. This is how much it costs. And then that cost is passed on to the seller after you've provided the stats and data. I've had agents do it both ways. Sometimes I will go through if I know that the client doesn't have a lot of funds available and it's not a house that I think, like if they're currently living in the house, I will go through and I will fine tooth. And the day before pictures, I'm in the house moving furniture, taking things down, tucking them away, telling the client, get that packed away in a box, because this is the best way to set up a home. And so I will do like a little staging consultation for my clients. It's just one of the value adds that I add on my listings. If they don't want to pay for staging, sometimes it's a shared expense. Sometimes you can have a higher commission rate and then include the staging. Like there's just a lot of ways that you can do it.
So
I know that
negotiable.
Some agents have like a value, at this percentage, this is what I provide. At this percentage, this is what I provide. At this percentage, this is what I provide. So knowing that there's just different ways to set up your business. Generally speaking, though, you're going to get a higher sold practice when a house is staged.
So what's your opinion on virtual staging online? Obviously, when they pay a visit to a property and then there's nothing, but when you do some research online, there could be a virtual staging, and then obviously that's not the representation of the fact. And then I know the case where clients actually sue the agent for that or things like that.
Well, it should be noted. It's one of the rules and restrictions. If you do virtual staging in your MLS, you have to indicate that there's virtual staging on that photograph. So like
you're not liable. Okay.
Exactly. So that reduces your liability for getting sued because it's one of the requirements to have that on there. So
is there a benefit of doing virtual
Virtual
staging?
staging? There's a couple schools of thought. Some people think that yes, there can be some benefits of virtually staging a property, especially if the client doesn't have the budget to be able to do the full staging. Just
Right.
having it virtually staged gives an image of what it might look like. And some people like that. Other people might feel duped, being like, oh, now I'm in here and it doesn't look like the pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sometimes you have a listing that's on the market for like a year and you're not going to pay for staging the whole entire year. So you can have pictures with staging like that they actually paid for, and then the house hasn't sold and now it's vacant, right? And so that
Okay.
can happen too. So there's different ideas about that. Some people like to have less photos online because they want to try to get people to come to the house in person to see if
Mhm.
it works. It's just different strategies, right? You're
Interesting.
trying to get people into your house. And so I've also had houses where we've come into and the clients are like, those are really good photos because the house doesn't look anything like it. And so they can feel duped about that. So
And
just
I know some
everyone's-
agents suggest basically you provide photos of the current status, current state of the house, and then actually you may have the photos of old interiors, right? Two set of two
well,
different,
I mean,
and then you
can't
provide
use
all
other
of them, and then
agents. Yeah, you can't use other agents' photos.
no,
So,
I'm not.
okay.
I'm not saying that. So
Okay.
some say, oh, you provide potential buyers with all the photos you have, for example, like before and after. So they relocate it. So the property is completely empty, but you have the photos before the relocation. So you just give them, just throw them everything at the buyers. And then what do you think of that online?
I am of the opinion, and this is my personal opinion, is that the less you show online, the better, because
Okay.
then like it's this balancing act of like it's a great house and come and see it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Any
your
other
time
questions?
today.
Oh, you're welcome. Great questions, guys. All right, are we all good? Wrapped up? Ready
Thank
to go?
you.
Yeah,
You
that
have
sounds
a
good.
plan of what you're going to do forward? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I will say goodbye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.